Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it is your favorite warlock, practicing necromancer, and I want to say good morning to all of you. Got my homemade iced coffee going. So this morning, I want to talk to you about hardships as practitioners, but also your personalized growth. And Kiken, welcome to the channel. So we over the last couple of weeks, I've had a lot of things going on, and today I'd like to kind of discuss some of this stuff with you because I think it's relevant, especially with what I've been seeing online. Is a lot of people when they get to going, they start growing as practitioners. They tend to not know what to do when that other shoe drops. Okay. And trust me, that shoe always drops. I have seen it time and time again. So, most recently in my own life. So, but here it is. One of the things I've noticed is a pattern. Everything seems to be going good, and then all of a sudden you get three things. And I'm reminded of the Algebra, which is the book, the Black Book of Satan. Okay, it's basically three books, three little, I guess you call them essays, if you will. Um, it's known as the Black Book of Satan, and it's called the Algebra. Okay, I was first introduced to this book by a good brother of mine who was a former member of the Cathedral of the Black Goat. He's a traditional Satanist, and he's very hardcore when it comes to the Order of the Nine Angles. And I know a lot of occultists today shy away from that; they hate it. It's probably it's most likely due to the fact that you actually have to work to improve yourself, to better yourself, and they can't stand that. But here it is. He says, in the words of Satan or Lucifer, is basically the proverb goes that there are three things that are in front of me, three things that I hate, three things that stand against me, and it's like three things that I completely flat out despise. So when you're thinking of that other shoe dropping, I want you to think about that for just a moment. Nobody likes it when things come at you that you really don't like. Okay. Sometimes it's things that you're not prepared for. Sometimes it's things that you are not expecting. So it does happen, but they always come in threes. Okay. For an example, last week I was out with the family. We went shopping last Thursday. Found out my mother was in the hospital. You know, she had a heart attack, triple bypass, that type of thing. Not going to get into it, but that angered me because it seemed like everybody knew, you know, but me. Okay, go in the next day, find out that it wasn't that day that she was admitted, but a few days prior. So that went from anger to pure rage. And so it happens, you know, instead of having 4 days to find a babysitter, we ended up with maybe a half a day, if that, a quarter of a day, if that, to try to figure something out for the weekend. And so you kind of get that aspect of reality, that purity within the world, that there are forces that will kind of say, hey, you need to slow it down. You need to take a step back and kind of reflect, spend some time with family, because if you're you're more wrapped up in, say, let's call it the way it is. If you're unbalanced, unbalanced means anything to do with, say, one topic instead of anything else. We sometimes forget that as ambassadors between the spiritual realm and the physical realm, we too have obligations to both family, friends, and our careers. Now, me personally, I've been heavily wrapped up with my magical studies, my practices, working with the spirits that I've been working with, doing my own research, and contemplating on my future at my current job. Okay. But here's the kicker: three things. So, what were the other two? Well, ended up getting a new branding, okay, on my arms, okay, and one of them became infected. It's very, very red, kind of scratchy, but normally that happens with when it scabs over. So it's still a little red on one side of it. So that's number two, okay, and number three, kind of slacked off on some studies lately because of my family situation, okay, but here it is. Had to take a little bit of a cutback because of what was going on. But as soon as I started back up with my studies, everything started going awesome. Okay, it just started going awesome. I made a sacrifice and an offering to the spirits that I work with, and um, I went out and I picked up a whole bunch of herbs and stones and things that I'm getting ready to work with within the spiritual realms because I'm getting ready to do some elixirs. I'm starting to put these things together again and getting ready to work with clay and forming more complex phylacteries, dark totems. And this is something that's going to be awesome. So I mean, I started paying more attention to this stuff, and my mother, she had the surgery. She's doing awesome. So everything's kind of going back the way they're supposed to be going, which is good. So when I say that there are things that's going to pop up that is unexpected, I'm not joking. Nobody expects this. So that day when I went in, the day after I found out, I talked to my employer. I talked to my boss, the head of the terminal, and I talked to my manager and said, "Hey, this went down." You know, and then you know, my manager looked at me and says, "You're good. You've never been late. You've never done, never missed a day on your shift. You were always on time, and if you were running late, you always called and say, 'Hey, I'm running a little bit late.' So you're good, okay? This is what the spirits will do for you, okay? If you're in line, in harmony." So my boss, my terminal manager, he looked at me and said, "Family is everything. Go deal with your family, okay? Don't worry about it. If you're late, you're late. Don't worry about it. I'll inform the boys, okay?" And you know what? I was late 2 days in a row, but I also got a chance to stay to make up for that because my boss allowed it. Okay. So, in actuality, it may seem like you're taking that proverbial punch in the stomach or the proverbial kick in the cojones, but you're not. Because if you take that step back, reflect, meditate, put yourself back into harmony, you're going to see that it's not as bad as it appears to be. Okay. I want you to think about that because we all go through these times of turmoil, these times of Say you got vodka. I just noticed this. Keekin said loud and clear, "Good morning. I got vodka," whereas I got coffee. Vodka's vodka is actually pretty good with coffee too. But anyways, so you'll notice that it's not as bad as it appears to be. So I mean, it's just a matter of taking that step back and reflecting, you know, and then you can reprioritize. You can find out what needs to be done. And the ironic part is, I was wondering why my paycheck went way down, and then I found out when I looked at my statement, I had about 3 things that were taken out unexpectedly, and it was reoccurring things, so it happens once in a while. I didn't realize it was that month, so that was number 3. And so, like I said, 3 things happens, now it's done, it's over, everything returns to normal, okay? So, all you gotta do when this happens is take that step back, find out what you're neglecting, look at everything, prioritize, and from there, take the necessary steps. You know, if you're neglecting the spirits, then get back into spiritualism. Okay. I recommend drawing up the circle of brimstone powder, placing black candles around at various intervals, mix some refined salt, like say sea salt or black sand, something like a bath salt, something that is crystallized that creates that current. Light the candles and take that cleansing bath. Okay, go in, rinse your mouth out with the alcohol. Vodka is very good for that. I recommend Fireball whiskey. Incredible stuff. Have a bowl sitting by so you can spit it out. Um, give that offering, be it blood offering or that of say currency. Kind of give back to the spirits as not only an apology for neglecting them, but or your studies, but also get into it as a saying, "Hey, I understand I've been neglecting. I will do better." Okay, and make sure that you do that because it basically sets things right. But at the same time, if it's something say physical, then you can take steps to do the same. Okay, be it stepping up your game. Say if you have bad knees, you can work the calf and the hamstring to get your knees back in order. Um, do more, do better in the workforce. I recently became certified through my job as of this past Tuesday within CPR training, so I can perform CPR legally and be an aid within an emergency type responder type aspect in that way to say infants, children, and adults if need be. So that's one thing. Second of all, when you get back into applying for college degrees, okay, I recently went into another college and put forth a request for information, okay, on their particular course. So this is helpful. Okay. Number 3, I'm also getting back into the various different oleums, the different elixirs that can be made. Okay. Like I said, I'm getting into creation of cloaks for myself for the practitioner of necromancy. Trust me, that's going very, very slow on that one alone. It kind of sucks. So finding the right material for it, that is the challenge. So I actually got a blanket, a couple blankets. I got it from Walmart. They were $10 a piece. They are roughly about 6 feet 9 inches area, or nine, or is it 6 by 9, and it's gray. It comes from the bedding aisle, just rolled up. And the thing with this one is it's unlike satin, which frays like crazy. So you have to actually sew down the side. This one here is more thick, more durable, but you want to make sure that it doesn't bunch up. So you got to find something that will deal with weights. You got to weight the ends. But with this fabric, you got to figure out where to begin, how you're going to do it, because you don't have the room for error. Therefore, you want to go into carpentry, that old carpentry saying, measure twice, cut once. So there's a few projects I do have, going here. And like I said, I've also been doing a lot of studying and a lot of reading over this past couple of weeks. So even though, you've had a few setbacks, just look at it like this. That's all they are, setbacks. Okay? Don't fret over it. It can be nerve wracking, it can be distraught, but that's it. That's all it is. It's a reaction. Take the time to reflect. And remember, three things, just three things. All it is. And something good will come out after it too. For an example, I went to a place just across the river, and it's called Charmed. And it's a metaphysical store run by Wiccans and pagans out of, I think they're from Massachusetts. So here it is. Um, I ended up picking up some herbs, and I picked up some stones, and I found out from the owner that there is an event that's coming up this coming month, which I did not know, roughly about 90 minutes away from me. Okay. And they have a lot of the stuff that most people wouldn't even be able to get their hands on. Second of all, she's going to hook me up with her suppliers, and, you know, for a lot of the herbs that a lot of the places around this area don't have. But also a friend of hers that created a cloak. Okay. So what's interesting here is she's going to see if this individual will share her design, or help me out with it for the cloak. Okay, to show me where I'm going wrong with it. So it has been a very, very long time, and this material is so different from what I was used to years ago. So it's a matter of finding out, you know, where to begin and how to do it again. So especially now that, yeah, after 8 years of having two pins in one thumb, I have to work with the other hand. So that's also a challenge. But like I said, good things do happen after the three things that come at you, and that's where the shoe drops. So trust me when I tell you, hard work, dedication, commitment. This to most people is just words, but when they see it firsthand, it's a whole nother story, because it's basically the universe saying, okay, and this is the way it was described to me. And when you look at it, it's true. When you're doing your things and things seem to be going wrong, there seems to be limitations, there seems to be things that are aligning against you, that means it's right. You're on the right track. There's an old country music um, saying, if you're not kicking up dust, you're not doing your job right. Okay? And even Anton Zandalove said it best himself too, which was, you know, keeping those horns up and being that that adversary, because it's not about being the adversary per se, it's about doing what's right. Okay. And what's right here is the fact that it may be a limit fire, it may be a limiter, but if you push through, if you push through that pain, if you push through that or those obstacles, you will be better off for it. Okay. And that's why I said take a ritual bath, cleanse your mouth with the alcohol, light the incense, light the candles, make that circle and meditate upon and reflect upon these issues that is going on in your own unique life. From there, take the necessary steps. I recommend remote viewing. I recommend projecting yourself, kind of just seeing the future you. Where where do you see yourself in say 5, 15 years, and how would you take those steps to get there? Okay. This is stuff that I think is important, and I feel that it is important for those who really, truly, earnestly want to get into the arts. Okay. This is not a path for the faint of heart. It is a solitary practice that will, 9 times out of 10, be just you dealing with it. Okay. And like I said, there will be those times of trial and tribulation. All right. With that said, I want to thank Keekin for jumping on here with me, and uh, Geo. I'm going to call you Geo, FFR524. I want to thank you two for jumping on here with me this morning. Um, and just because you have you know, these tribulations, just remember two things. Back it up, okay? I've always said this. Whatever you preach, always back it up. Numerous sources, and always make yourself available to the public. But balance is everything. All right? Have a good day.